Bongcloud, considered one of the most aggressive and challenging openings in chess, occurs when you ignore common chess principles and develop your king. Now me, being the chess savant that I am, decide to test just how far I can climb the ranking ladder with the Bongcloud. However, since there's an obvious difference between playing the Bongcloud against e5 versus, for example, the Scandi, I want to make it a bit easier. The rules are simple. No matter the opening, I have to move my king out in the first 10 moves. Manual castling is allowed, but you can't immediately bring the king back to the starting square. The goal is to get to 1800 elo before I lose 100 games. Welcome to Hitting the Bong. Alright, welcome back. So we're gonna start another game immediately, but I do want to mention that since our last game, I did take some time to study the theory behind moving the king out, and I came up with a particular solution of moving up the king, moving the pawn to f3 and then getting the king up to f2. And right now we're gonna test just how much I actually studied and whether or not I can hold on to a position. So I'm gonna try to see if I can get a game with the white pieces. Nice. So we're gonna go f3, and whatever they respond with. Okay, they respond with e5, and now there's so many continuations. Bishop c5 check. So if I remember correctly, yeah, e3 is normal. This is the very key move in this position. It's actually a funny name. It's called the Hammerschlag. So e3, and now I don't remember what to do here, but I think like a lot of the key ideas in this variation is to get the bishop out early, get the knight out, and strike in the center. So we could try d4 too. So let me think about this a little. Okay, I think I need to strike in the center. I think I want to go for this. I want to strike in the center early, and we'll see what the position holds. I think this is good because I think we get the bishop away. Yeah, so now that we take, and I think we can just take back. Yeah, we'll see where the bishop slides. Bishop slides back. Okay, keeping the pressure. Nice. Okay, but I feel like the problem with this is it kind of allowed us to put pressure on the king, and now isn't he really like forced to either to move the king, to give up on the king? Like, isn't queen e1 check just better? Queen e1, queen e2, what's the difference? I feel like queen e2, maybe we can jump around, but it does block the bishop. I also can consider just normal moves, just getting the bishop out, but I feel like that's a critical move because the king's not going to be able to castle, and we already feel like lose a lot of game back, a lot of our advantage. So let's check. Yeah, queen blocks. So now we can take back. And after king takes back, I think we have to take back, and after we need to think after the king takes, what do we do? So the king takes, can't castle anymore. We do need to support this pawn immediately after, right? We can't, because the bishop is looking at the pawn, and the queen used to protect the pawn right here. So we can play c3. We can play knight to e2. Okay, so let's take, right? And now c3, knight to e2, or bishop e3 all look solid. I don't want to impede this knight though, so let's play bishop e3. That seems solid. There's no like way to attack it or anything. I feel like he's gonna manually castle. He's probably gonna try to bring the rook in somehow, and overall like the position doesn't look that bad for us, right? Okay, so e4, interesting. D5, what am I saying? E4. Interesting. So again, the key idea in this Hammerschlag is get the bishop out, get the knight out, and then maybe start a king storm, like a kingside pawn storm. So ideally we want to get this bishop out first, right? Feel like this is the best square. Let's do that. Let's get our bishop out right here. And I think our position is very comfortable. In fact, I would say like we're slightly better at this point, right? So he's getting our bishop out. That's a little uncomfortable square, right? Let's continue with the plan. Let's get knight e2. So he keeps developing. So again, knight c3 is normal. We could also do this and go for like c4, but I don't see the merit in that. You know what? Let's develop this knight because I feel like he could maybe jump in and start pressuring stuff. It's actually not a bad move. Okay, so he immediately tries to play it. Okay, interesting. But now I feel like I can try to go for this bishop because this pawn used to guard this bishop and could open up this rook this way. But if I take here, taking back like this, or even taking back with the knight, it's just kind of uncomfortable to, you know, we just get the bishop here. So that's an idea. We could push a4 to maybe try to annoy. What about a4? Just a4, just trying to gain some space. Does that look good? Let's go for it. Let's go for a4. And again, I'm trying to not get a lot of I'm trying to not waste a lot of time, especially because a couple of games I've tried with the Bongcloud and the Hammerschlag and all these variations, I've used up a lot of time, and I end up like the only reason I ended up losing was because of the time pressure. So here you can continue with the plan, go e5. He might try to reroute here, but that doesn't look good. I feel like just pushing all our pawns looks good, right? I need to think a bit more. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna push the pawn, and if the bishop moves back here, if it moves back here, we will probably do some knight reroute. That makes the most sense. Or just continue with a pawn push. But if the bishop reroutes to c7, we can play g3, we can play g4, we can play h4. g3 looks a little solid, preparing h4. So that's what I'm going for. So let's try that. I'm gonna go g3. Let's try to go for it. We can also support a potential knight push here. If we place knight in immediately, I don't like how like we can get attacked and get in a bit of trouble, you know, because we just allow for some pushback on the king side. Let's solidify first. Let's play g3, protect everything, right? That seems pretty solid. So a lot of pawn pushes down the flanks. I'm trying to calculate. I'm trying to see whether the pawn push right now and just keep gaining space. This is like an annoyingly closed endgame where not a lot of habit. We kind of just need to grab a space and rewrite a piece of like efficiently and make sure that and try to get our opponent to make mistakes. So grabbing more space seems like a very viable solution. Just making sure there's no tricks with any sacrifices. That's also very important. We can keep pushing. Realistically, we can push both sides, but because this b4 is actually available as well, but I like this push. Yeah, I like this a little better. Maybe this is a little overextension, but personally it seems good, especially because both our kings are in the center, really, and our pieces are kind of more favorable, especially with our bishop pair being so strong. This bishop can actually control a lot more than this bishop. So this actually, okay, so he manually casts. Oh, that was the idea. But actually, I don't think that was a good move, because now can I move this rook here and just prepare okay, well, I guess the rook is now protecting this pawn. But really, like, let's say I do move the rook, right? After he grabs the pawn, can't we just like continue the attack, right? Like after here, let's calculate. Here takes g5. If takes, like the rook is just getting in, infiltrating, and it's horrible. Looks horrible. If the knight, let's say, moves to here, again, we can open up the position pretty handily. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna sacrifice a pawn. You can take this. You can take, but I'm pretty sure we get a sufficient attack afterwards. I don't know what else. Like I don't like to go too solid. Okay, right. So let's go for this. Let's go for g5. So he takes, and now we can just take, right? And this is just This is hard to deal with. So he moves. That's what I expected. But now, I mean, rook at h8 looks nasty. Just continuing to pile the pressure. This is coming. All right. So he's kind of forced to move back even, I would say. Okay, let's calculate. So if we move our rook down, the best move for him is probably, what is it? Maybe g6 to prevent the bishop to come in. So after g6, we can get the other rook in, right? We can do this. So here, if blocks, then we can get the other rook in. If moves away, we could probably still get the bishop inside. I feel like this looks good. I'm gonna go for this. Let's see how we respond. So yeah, that's what I thought. That looked like a more natural move to get our connect the rook to the knight, but I feel like g6 might have been better. Now, this, can we utilize that this bishop is on this square? Because I feel like he had good control over this. We could place our knight in. That actually looks very tasty. That looks good. We can get our rook. We can maybe rook h7 looks good. Get doubling our rooks. Feels a little useless. Now I'm considering like a maybe a pawn sacrifice could like to open up the position. I feel like knight f4 is way more natural. Let's try to go for this. And there's actually not, you can't really protect it in a nice way, the bishop. Like you can't move it out anywhere, so I will win the bishop pair here. Okay, so he actually takes, so he gives me the bishop pair here. That's interesting. So pawn push. So he's going for this flank pawn push. But see, I don't think this works, right? I don't think he has sufficient counterplay to counteract everything that's going on here, right? So what if, okay, I need to see it. Like, is there some explosion in the center? Something like this. Doubling the rooks. Rook h7 looks good. Okay, rook h7. Wait, what can it, he can't defend this, right? He can't do anything to protect this pawn, right? Because if he pushes, I just grab it because this pawn is pinned. It's not actually protecting. So we can win a pawn. Another idea that I was kind of interested in, now that the bishops are off, the light squares here are weak, so we can actually reroute the bishop back. That looks nasty, but I don't think it has like a lot of actual like ideas, like concrete stuff. It's more just like an idea to check and get a hold of these squares. But let's stick to something more concrete because I don't see any way of actually protecting this pawn. Oh, okay, so he's moving the king back. But again, now, oh, now bishop c1 looks a lot better. Oh, wow. Especially the king is like boxed in. Like it's gonna have to sacrifice or something. Oh, wow, that's nasty. Okay, so interesting. So he's trying to, I don't know. Actually, I don't think this works, right? Because, wait, bishop here. He has to block, right? Because if he moves here, isn't this just mate? That's mate, right? Oh, wow. So he has to block, probably with the knight. Well, actually, if with the knight, then check, and this thing happens again. So that's interesting. So that doesn't work. Okay, we have a win here. We definitely have a win. So check. This should work. If knight blocks, we check and then mate. If king moves, we mate. If rook blocks, we can probably just take. And if king takes, we like win a bunch of stuff. And if rook takes, actually we can take the bishop with check after this, and then can proceed to win a bunch of stuff. Okay, I like this. But what if pawn blocks here? Like what if we just move it and the pawn blocks, yeah, just c5? Can we just take and threaten it? So after we take and threaten, can he make any move? I genuinely don't see it. Let's go for this. Let's go for it. So he needs to think here. He's been moving super fast, but if he doesn't, okay, so now takes, and what can he do? Like genuinely, he's gonna lose the house. I mean, this has to be completely losing, right? Pawn push. You lose the knight, right? That's the first thing I'm looking at. Just c6, checking the king. There's no way to protect with the knight. Then the king's gonna move, right? Wait, if king moves, g6 moves up. Wait, the pawn is protected, so maybe a knight check. Moves up. There's a mate here. There's a mate here. I believe there's a mate. No matter how you protect, there's a mate. There's got to be. If I don't believe, yeah. G6. Let's evaluate more concretely. G6 moves up. We can give a check like this. First of all, we can take. This is moves up. Check. Has to go here. Is that not just? Oh my god, that's a beautiful mate. Oh my god, I cannot believe we found this. Right? This has to be mate. Check. Bishop cuts off this diagonal, so the king has to move here. Another check. Rook cuts off this. So the king has to move here, and the king is boxed in by everything. These pawns block the escape, and the knight blocks the escape over here, and this pawn push boxes in the king. Please tell me this works. Check. Check. Wow! Oh my goodness. That was amazing. That was an amazing checkmate. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at the accuracy. 88.9 versus 69. So our only real mistake was the king to f2. So actually it would have been higher. Would have been in the 90s. Wow. I cannot believe we won that. That was a very nice conversion. So if we take a look back, what really happened here is our opponent just handled this. Like, it's a very confusing opening, right? Because you don't know how to handle this completely. So bishop to c5 check is already wrong because it like literally lets us do the move, the critical move in these positions. And actually, yeah, d4 was the top move. Yeah, so we immediately strike in the center. I wasn't sure about it, but it does work. And after the bishop moves back, there's the queen e1 check. I'll go again. Great, one of the best moves, right? Forcing the kings off into an endgame, and it's already equal. Like, we already went down. Like, the Bongcloud is basically equal after what was it, like 7 moves? Yeah, that's crazy. And then after that was just a matter of gaining space, pushing the bishops back, and then this nice little pawn sacrifice. It's actually here we actually lost a bit of an advantage, because apparently you can just take and you're fine, but we opened up the king, we opened up the attack, and we actually, despite not having queens on the board, we actually ended up this nice little bishop reroute at the end of using the bishop, using the traded off dark square bishop for black as an advantage. And here, yeah, check, yeah. Oh wow, yeah, we found the mate. That's a very nice game. Just overall very nice. No real mistakes. And this is how you play the Bongcloud and win.